I used to believe weak people were born weak. Now I know some people become weak because the world keeps stepping on them until they forget how to stand. My name is Maya Cole, and for most of my life, I was the girl people used, laughed at, blamed, and pushed aside. I was the quiet one. The one who apologized even when I was the one bleeding. The one who smiled when my heart was breaking because I was scared that if I complained, everyone would leave. And they did leave. But not before they destroyed me first. It started with my best friend, Tessa Reid, the girl I trusted with every secret I had. She knew my pain. She knew I was struggling. She knew I loved Damon Blake, the boy who promised me forever with tears in his eyes. Then one night, at a party I never wanted to attend, everything changed. A stolen necklace. A room full of witnesses. A cruel accusation. A video edited to make me look guilty. And suddenly, I was not Maya anymore. I was the thief. The liar. The desperate poor girl who wanted what rich girls had. Tessa cried in front of everyone and said, "Maya, why would you do this to me?" Damon looked at me like I was dirt and whispered, "I defended you. I loved you. And this is who you really are." I tried to speak, but no one listened. My voice broke. My knees shook. My whole world watched me fall. But the worst part was not the humiliation. The worst part was seeing Tessa's lips curve into a small smile when no one else was looking. That was when I knew. They had planned everything. They needed someone to take the fall, and they chose me because I had always been easy to break. But that night, while I sat alone outside in the rain, holding the torn strap of my cheap dress, I made myself one promise. I would not cry forever. I would not beg forever. And one day, the same people who called me weak would learn the dangerous truth. A quiet girl can become a storm when she has nothing left to lose. I used to think being kind was the same thing as being weak. Maybe that was why everyone treated me like I had no bones in my body, like I could bend forever and never break. I was the girl who apologized first, even when I was the one bleeding. I worked after school, sent money home to my mother, protected my little brother Noah, and still tried to smile like life was not squeezing the breath out of me. Tessa was my best friend, or at least that was what I called her. She knew every part of me, but looking back now, I think she only studied my wounds so she could press them later. Damon was the boy I loved. He made me feel seen, but sometimes, he made me feel small too. When Tessa invited me to Vivian Hart's party, something inside me warned me not to go. But I ignored it. I was tired of being left out. I wanted one night to feel normal. I did not know I was walking into a trap. The moment I stepped into Vivian Hart's mansion, I knew I did not belong there. Everything looked expensive. The lights, the dresses, the smiles, even the way people laughed sounded rich. I wore the silver dress Tessa gave me, though it felt strange on my skin, like it belonged to a girl pretending to be someone else. Damon was there, standing near Vivian. He smiled at me, but his smile did not reach his eyes. Tessa kept whispering that I should relax, that nobody was looking at me, but everybody was. Then Vivian showed everyone her mother's diamond necklace. She held it like a queen showing off a crown. Later, Tessa asked me to follow her upstairs because she said she needed her purse. I did not want to go, but she begged me. Minutes later, Vivian screamed. Her necklace was missing. And when they searched my bag, they found it there. I could not breathe. I kept saying, I didn't take it, but my voice sounded useless in that room. Tessa cried like I had betrayed her. Damon looked at me like I had become a stranger. But when they dragged me out, I saw Tessa smile. That was when my heart understood what my mouth could not say. They planned it. By morning, my shame had already reached places I had never been. The video of me being called a thief spread around campus like fire. People who had never spoken to me suddenly had opinions about my soul. Some laughed. Some pointed. Some looked away like my disgrace was contagious. My manager at the cafe told me not to come back until everything was settled. My scholarship office sent me a warning. Even my landlord started acting like I was dangerous. I called Damon until my fingers hurt. When he finally agreed to see me, I ran to him like he was still my safe place. But the boy I loved stood in front of me with cold eyes. "Maybe I never really knew you," he said. Those words broke something in me. I went to Tessa next, desperate for answers. At first, she acted innocent. Then her face changed. The sweet girl disappeared, and the truth stood in her place. "You were always easy to use, Maya," she said. "You wanted love too badly." I left her apartment shaking. But nothing hurt me more than seeing Noah later that night. My little brother looked at me with tears in his eyes and asked, "Maya, did you really steal it?" That was the moment I realized they had not only stolen my name, they had stolen my brother's trust too. For 2 days, I cried until my body felt empty. Then something inside me went quiet. Not peaceful. Dangerous. I stopped asking why they did it and started asking how. I remembered every small detail from the party. Tessa touching my bag. Vivian leaving her room before she claimed the necklace was gone. Damon watching the hallway like he already knew something was about to happen. And a quiet boy named Eli Turner holding a camera near the stairs. I found Eli after class. He looked nervous when I mentioned the party. At first, he said he did not want trouble. But when I told him my whole life was already trouble, his face softened. He admitted he saw Tessa leave Vivian's room before the screaming started. That was the first time someone believed me. Then I went back near Vivian's mansion and begged the security guard, Mr. Alvarez, to help me. He said he could not get involved, but his eyes told me he knew something. Later that night, Eli sent me one blurry photo from his backup storage. In the photo, Tessa was holding my bag. My hands started shaking, but this time it was not fear. It was hope. I wanted to run to everyone and show them the photo. I wanted to scream, "See? I told you I was innocent." But I had learned something painful by then. Truth without power can still be ignored. So I stayed quiet. I watched. Tessa started walking around campus like a wounded angel. People hugged her. They comforted her. They called her strong for surviving my betrayal. Vivian acted untouchable, like her money had built a wall around her sins. Damon avoided my eyes, and somehow, that hurt almost as much as his words. Then Rachel Moore, an old classmate who worked in student affairs, helped me check something important. Vivian had reported the necklace to the school, but she had never filed a police report. That made no sense. If the necklace was so expensive, why was Vivian afraid of real police? Eli and I started digging deeper. We discovered Vivian's family had money problems. We also found out the necklace might not even be real, or maybe it had been used for insurance. Suddenly, the lie became bigger than Tessa's jealousy. Then I received a message from an unknown number. "Stop digging, or your brother will suffer next." I stared at the screen, and my blood turned cold. They had touched my name. Now they were reaching for my family. And that was their biggest mistake. When Noah came home with a torn bag and blood on his lip, the old Maya died. He tried to act brave, but I saw the fear in his eyes. Someone had pushed him after school and told him to warn me. My little brother, who had nothing to do with Vivian, Tessa, or Damon, had become part of their dirty game. I stopped crying that day. I went straight to Damon because some part of me still believed he knew more than he was saying. When I confronted him, he looked shocked. Maybe he did not send those boys after Noah, but he knew enough to be guilty. He told me Vivian and Tessa had been meeting Vivian's older brother, Caleb Hart. Caleb was the kind of man people feared quietly. He fixed scandals, buried secrets, and made problems disappear. I looked at Damon and finally saw him clearly. He was not the villain who planned everything, but he was worse than innocent. He was weak. He stood beside the fire and watched me burn. "You didn't just fail to protect me," I told him. "You helped them bury me." That night, Eli recovered more footage from his damaged camera files. Mr. Alvarez also gave me something secretly. A clip from the back gate. In it, Tessa handed something shining to Caleb. The necklace. I watched it again and again. Then I whispered, "Now I have you." I had proof, but I knew proof alone would not be enough. Vivian had money. Caleb had connections. Tessa had tears. Damon had silence. And I had only the truth. So, I learned their game. I stopped reacting. I let them think I was still broken. When Tessa laughed with her new friends, I lowered my eyes. When Vivian insulted me in the hallway, I said nothing. When people whispered thief behind my back, I kept walking. But inside, I was building a storm. Eli helped me create an anonymous number. I sent Tessa a message pretending to be Caleb. I did not write much. Just enough to make her panic. She replied too quickly. She mentioned the necklace. She mentioned my bag. She mentioned that I was supposed to be finished before the internship list came out. That was when I finally understood the real reason. Vivian did not only want to shame me. She wanted to remove me. I was her competition for the internship, and instead of working harder, she chose to destroy me. Damon found out too. He came to me with guilt in his voice, saying he was sorry. But sorry sounded small after everything I had lost. When the invitation for the annual awards night arrived, I smiled for the first time in weeks. Vivian would be there. Tessa would be there. The school board would be there. And so would the truth. The awards night was beautiful in the cruelest way. Golden lights. Expensive perfume. Proud parents. Fake smiles. Everyone looked clean, as if the room was not full of dirty secrets. Vivian walked in like she owned the night. Tessa followed her, smiling like a loyal friend. Damon sat near the front, but he kept looking back at me. I wore a simple black dress, nothing flashy, nothing borrowed. For once, I wanted to stand in something that belonged to me. When Vivian's name was called for the internship award, the room clapped. I waited. She walked to the stage, glowing with victory. Then I stood up. At first, people started whispering. Vivian's smile dropped. Tessa's face changed. Security moved toward me, but Rachel had already spoken to the dean. For the first time, someone in power gave me the chance to speak. My voice did not shake. I was accused in front of everyone, I said. So I will clear my name in front of everyone too. Then I showed them everything. The photo of Tessa holding my bag. The footage of her handing the necklace to Caleb. The messages where she exposed herself. The proof that Vivian never filed a police report. The clip of Vivian saying, "Once Maya is gone, the internship is mine." The room went silent. Not quiet. Silent. Tessa started crying, but nobody moved to comfort her. Vivian shouted that I was lying, but her voice sounded scared. Damon stood up like the truth had punched him in the chest. Then Tessa screamed at me, "You ruined my life." I looked at her and said, "No, Tessa. I returned it to you." After that night, everything changed. The same people who called me a thief started calling me brave. The same girls who laughed at me began sending messages saying they always knew something was wrong. I learned something then. People love the truth only after it becomes safe to believe it. Vivian lost the internship. Her family's name entered an investigation. Caleb was questioned for threatening me and tampering with evidence. Tessa became the girl everyone avoided. Her tears no longer worked because people had finally seen the poison behind them. But I did not feel as happy as I thought I would. Justice did not erase the nights I cried alone. It did not give me back my job immediately. It did not remove the memory of Noah asking if I stole the necklace. It did not heal the part of me that Damon broke when he chose doubt over love. He came to me one evening, looking like regret had aged him. "I should have believed you," he said. "I was scared of standing alone." I looked at him and realized I still cared, but not enough to return. "You were scared," I said. "I was destroyed. There is a difference." Tessa also came to me. She looked smaller without her lies. She said she hated me because I had a kind of goodness she could never fake. I did not hug her. I did not curse her. I simply said, I hope you become someone you don't have to hide. Then I walked away. That same day, I received a letter. My scholarship had been restored. And the internship Vivian stole from me was now mine. Starting that internship felt like walking into a life I almost lost. I remembered the girl who had sat in the rain outside Vivian's mansion, shaking and ashamed. I remembered the way people looked at me like I was dirty. I remembered every door that closed because of a lie. But I also remembered how I stood up. Noah apologized to me one night. He could barely look at me when he said it. I should have believed you, he whispered. I touched his hand and told him the truth. You were hurt too. But next time, when the world screams, listen for the voice you know. My mother cried when she saw my scholarship letter. For the first time in months, our house felt warm again. Damon sent me one final message. Maya, I know I don't deserve another chance, but I still love you. I stared at it for a long time. The old me would have replied quickly. The old me would have mistaken regret for love. But I was not that girl anymore. I deleted the message. Eli remained close, not pushing, not demanding, just standing beside me like peace. Maybe one day, something would grow there. Maybe not. For once, I did not need love to prove I was worthy. At the end, I returned to Vivian's mansion. The gate was closed. The lights were off. It looked smaller than I remembered. I stood there quietly and smiled. They thought I was weak because I cried. They thought I was weak because I forgave. They thought I was weak because I loved people who did not deserve me. But I was never weak. I was only waiting for the day pain would teach me how strong I could be. I turned away from the gate and walked into my future. Not as their victim. As my own victory.